And welcome as Andy Kruger is about to interview the Moondog about his Lenten promises.
Not just me. There are three of us, but anyway.
All right,
Take it
Mr.
away.
Mooney, what are you giving up for Lent?
So as I was telling Mr. Danielson Francois and Mr. Breen earlier, it's not very common, but I'm gonna try to give up anger, which not anchors because I don't have a boat, but anger, the emotion. So that's my goal.
All right, so how are you going to accomplish this?
A lot of prayer and a lot of patience. I gave them the example in the movie Evan Almighty, which is just a movie, I know, but there's a woman who's talking to Morgan Freeman, who plays God, and he says, it seems to me that if you were praying for something hard enough, God wouldn't just give it to you; He'd give you situations that would allow you to achieve it on your own. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I'm not necessarily hoping for situations where I can get angry and then not get angry, but I'm hoping for situations that will help me to overcome anger that we all carry and we all hate and it doesn't help anybody. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Okay, and did you make a New Year's resolution?
No, I never do.
All right, do you think there's a difference between a Lenten promise and a New Year's resolution?
Absolutely. I think a New Year's resolution is something that, number one, people never stick to. It's completely secular. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think that they're meaningless. People do them to try and commit themselves to silly things for the sake of argument. They don't do them because they're indicative of sacrifice. I don't know anyone who has ever held on to a New Year's resolution legitimately. And Lent is something that I don't go back on. When I was younger, I might not have been as firm in my beliefs and my diligence, but since I've been an adult, I have not gone back on a Lenten promise. So,
Okay.
But that's just me.
Mr. DF, what are you giving up for Lent?
I'm going to try and make my prayer life more meaningful, I'd say. My prayers right now are informal. I don't actually say set prayers, but I purchased this book, Charles Spurgeon's book of morning and evening prayers, and I'm going to try and make sure that every morning I say the morning prayer. I just read it out loud, directly out of the book, meditate on it, and then I'll do the same thing in the evening.
Okay. Mr. Breen, you want to add anything?
Sure. I think for Lent, what I'm probably going to try to do, and I'll probably just start now, actually, is try to journal every day. So just write down sort of what I'm thinking and feeling about, and journaling in the sense of like speaking to God as I journal, and giving everything up to Him.
What about you, Angie? What are you going to give up or do? It can be do for Lent.
Oh, I'm going to try and be like a nicer, more friendly person because I generally am not that friendly.
How will you achieve this?
Maybe I'll, say hi to people in the hallway when they're passing instead of just, look the other way.
Even if they're passing on the left instead of the right?
Yeah, I probably will, even though that's one of my pet peeves.
Anything else you wanted to add to this interview before we call her done?
Nope, that's it.
One year, I gave up biting my tongue. So I gave up holding back with people because I think we all have a tendency to hold back. And it was a very interesting time.
What do you call that? The year without friends?
No, but there's there's a certain amount of I always appreciate brutal honesty, and so if you do something that is not right, instead of just sort of looking the other way, and I was very forward with people, and I wouldn't call people out, but I didn't censor myself, and I don't know that I would do that again, but it was a very interesting time.
Do you feel like people
you
were
felt
more
freer.
honest with you?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so, and that's I think that's authentic discourse.
Well, I think what's interesting in the Bible is that it's not like that, right? Jesus doesn't just call people out. He'll tell a story. The story is calling you out.
Sure.
That's what analogical thinking, metaphors. So let me tell you a story about a guy who went out and did a thing, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, I'm that guy. Wait, that's my thing.
Oh, and I'm not saying I'm that. It was a social experiment. This is before I was really dedicated, and it was just one of those things where I thought, I'm going to challenge myself. And I saw a lot of benefit in just being forthright with people and not, it wasn't about calling people out for things. It was if something came up, I didn't hold it back, whatever I wanted to say. But it wasn't like, oh yeah, and I was really mad at Angie from months ago, so I went to then go find her and call her out. It was a lot more like if something happened instead of just, I didn't turn the other cheek, which was not a good idea. But it was interesting to see how.
It's not a good idea.
It's not a good idea.
Don't try this at home.
Supposed to turn the other cheek. Yeah. I'm gonna do the disclaimer for my classes. I'm not suggesting you do this.
It's only for
I do not support
trained
this.
Professionals.
This was a psychological and social experiment, and it yielded interesting fruit. Very interesting fruit. So.
The harvest is plenty, the laborers are few. I'm signing off as the Prophet of Doom.